Okay, good morning. So this is the first time we've had everybody together. As you know, we had a large crowd last week honoring Coach Sharble, but this is the first kind of a formal assembly we've done together. The room actually seats 2,500 people, but with a slightly different seating arrangement than we currently have. We'll talk more about that next week when we have assembly. This assembly is a little bit different. As you know, it's centered all around MBA's founding. And so the screens, I'll go through the story of MBA's history very briefly, and then talk about the race. And I have some students that are going to help make some comments this morning as well. So the reason we have this assembly today is that when Montgomery Bell passed away in 1855, his will was probated just around this period of time, and so late April 1855. At that point, they realized that he had left $20,000 to start a boys' school. The people responsible for implementing his will realized that that amount of money was not enough to start the school, so they invested it. And the Civil War came along, and so some more complications, and it wasn't until 1867 that the school was founded. And as you see from the slide, we were at three different locations downtown Nashville in those 40 plus years. And then the school made the decision, thinking this would be strategic, to move out to the country. So they moved it to this location and bought the home and the property from the Tinsley family in 1915 with the advertisement that they would start a country school for city boys. So now we're the suburbs, but back in 1915, 100 plus years ago, this was more considered the country. Some information about development. We did have three buildings on the campus, basically where the Carter building is and the dining hall and the ball building for a long time. And then the school built the gym and the Massey building and many more buildings. But in 2004, we were given the property at 42nd Avenue, which is, is about 1.5 miles from here, and we have 10 acres there. And then in 2006, we were given 150 to 200 acres up at the Long Mountain property. And then in 2009, after a journey of about 15 years, we were able to purchase all of the homes where the road is and the tennis courts. And the city allowed the school to take down those homes and collapse the road and those properties into the campus area, with the understanding that we would be more sensitive to the neighborhood because we'd take some traffic off the surrounding streets. And then in 2010, we did some more building, the parking garage, the Lowry building, the dining hall, finishing that in 2013. We were then eager to try to get some more property because we knew we wanted to build this building, and we'd lose the parking on the west side of this building where they're building that field now. And so Vine Street Church was interested in selling us the property around the church, not the church itself, but all the property around it. And we were able to build a new parking area there. We had renovated the Davis building, the second floor. We also renovated some of the first floor in that same period of time. And then just recently, as you all know, we developed the Long Mountain property this past year, and then we did the renovation on the stadium, and then built this building, and now we're doing the field. So that's a very collapsed history of kind of what's happened since 1855. Let's go to the next slide. So this is a map that Mr. Womack, who taught art here for many years and was head of the arts department, had done, and we have that up on the campus in several places actually, and we need to see if he or someone can do a slight revision to it, because if you look closely at that, you'd see Andrews Field and not this building in that place. So it has most everything except for actually the parking area across the street. You still see the Curry Gym in the upper right-hand side of that image, and if you'll go to the next slide. This is a shot of the campus, a photograph that Mr. Artisan took yesterday with the drone. So it gives you, the up-to-date view of the wellness center. That gives you a sense of how big this building is. If you look at it relative to the other buildings on the campus, and an image of the new field and now the parking lot. So you see how the campus is developed. I've been here since '94, and at that point we had about 30 acres, and now we have 50 acres on this location. And as I said, 10 acres at Sylvan Park on 42nd Avenue, and then another 200 acres at the Long Mountain property. One of the really interesting aspects of the campus is the entranceway. Prior to 2010, there really was not an entranceway on Harding Road. There was a small meandering path that was to the east of that entrance, but when we built the science building, we added on to Massey, we built that new entrance. Next slide, please. So I've asked two students to speak this morning. First, Sam, whom he would tell you I got to know him really well a few years ago. And for me, and I think for him, it's been a really good journey to find a place in a community. And he's going to talk about that this morning. Join me in welcoming Sam.
Good morning. My name is Sam Banks, and I wanted to bring y'all back to one of my first MBA memories. This is one that made me realize that though my time on the Hill has been brief, this is my home. The bus doors open, and I step down onto a familiar ground in front of me. I gaze up at the Innsworth Field, a place that I used to call my home. With cleats in hand and pads over the shoulder, we made our way across the grass field surrounded by the orangey-red brick buildings. This field felt also familiar, only this time I was on the opposing side. I had an overwhelming sense of urgency to play the best I ever had. Not that I had anything to prove, but rather to perform with what I had learned from my new team. The coaching structure at MBA was completely different than Innsworth's. The passion each coach had for us as players astounded me. I never imagined that I would be leaving the school where I spent the first 10 years of my education, 10 years. But in my first moment stepping onto the field, I knew that I had made the right choice in choosing MBA. I ran onto the field and was greeted by my former teammates. We were excited to see each other, but also knew we had to stay focused. After finding my cousin wearing black on the opposing team, I ran back to my team in red, knowing that they were every bit as much my family. I have thrived in my new environment, which has led me to the decision to follow my dreams and continue in athletics in college. Participating with the Big Red athletics team has been full of challenges that have only made me stronger. I'm grateful for every moment Coach Sanders exclaimed, chest over knee, pop, pop, get out of there. Even the most difficult moments when Coach Hugh showed me how much he believed in me by how loud he was yelling. I'm grateful for all the relationships that I've made at this community at Montgomery Bell, and I've been introduced to people whom I can relate to, whether it be music, sports, or other clubs. Friendship has become one of my most valued qualities throughout my time here, and I couldn't be closer to the people whom I now call my family, you all. The Gentleman Scholar Athlete motto here at MBA is one that will always be in the forefront of my mind. It has enriched me as a person and made me place prepositions in the right place as a student, and made me proud to wear red as a teammate. I'd like to thank everyone who gave me this opportunity to be a part of this brotherhood and those that have believed in me in my transition. Thank you, and roll Red.
Thank you, Sam. I know the Ellington Band is excited about playing this piece today that they've waited on to find the right occasion for. It's called Tank by Yoko Kanno from Cowboy Bebop. Join me in welcoming our jazz band, Ellington Band. So Jason, if you have some energy left, you're up next. Jason Zhu's also going to make some comments. Join me in welcoming Jason.
So as I was brainstorming what I should say for Founders Day today, I reflected on the unique opportunities that MBA has given me these past 6 years. At MBA, I've found my passion for music through the Ellington Band, Chalophony, and in Dada, but at the same time, I've learned the values of grit, toughness, and visualization with the rifle team and Coach Sharble. Opportunities like these could not have come from anywhere else for me, and I encourage all the underclassmen and junior schoolers to branch out and find what you love to do from all that MBA has to offer. The biggest impact MBA has had on me, though, is the brotherhood and camaraderie that we share here at MBA and will for the rest of our lives. We persevere together through tough times and challenges that will in turn make us stronger men as we celebrate successes. Whether it be working through seemingly impossible physics problems or supporting friends at soccer games with our little brothers, it doesn't matter what the event may be. In the end, we are a strong, supportive community that lifts each and every one of us up to be our best selves. This fellowship constantly displays itself through our friendships and relationships with teachers and coaches, just like Sam mentioned. And a great example of it came last week as we gathered all together to honor Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Sharple, an extraordinary person who is the epitome of the strong, caring man that we strive to be. This Founders Day, let's keep the tradition going by supporting one another as we go out and cheer on our classmates while honoring the legacy of both Van Webb and Joseph Sharple. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Next. Van Webb, someone I got to know very well. He, as you see, graduated from MBA in 2000, then matriculated at Vanderbilt. He was a great student, loved poetry. He was also talented in track and football. When he was at Vanderbilt, they discovered he had cancer, and it took his life when he was a junior there. And knowing how close and fond the Webb family and Van was of MBA, when we started this tradition, we thought it would be a great way to remember him and call this the Van Webb race that we're about to go out and see. So that's his history. And now let's go to the next slide. I think the film is up, if I'm right. Yes.
Gentlemen, would you draw back, please, away from the course? Thank you. Mr. Abrahams, your position, please. Owing to the absence of any other challenger, Mr. Abrahams will run alone. Mr. Steiner! Your name and college, if you please, sir?
Lindsay. I raced beside my friend here. We challenged in the name of Repton, Eton, and Keith. I didn't know you ran. Nor are you. Some chap told me about this shindig over breakfast. I thought I'd come and push you along a bit, what?
Delighted.
Splendid.
Good luck.
Gentlemen, to your marks, if you please. Now remember, on the first strike of 12.
Stay with it!
So the film Chariots of Fire is the inspiration for the race we're about to see. It was actually filmed at Eton College in England, though in the film it supposedly takes place at Cambridge. When I thought about doing this, a lot of the faculty and some students told me it'd be a crazy idea, but it's really turned out to be fun and just a nice tradition to kind of remember the founding of the school, to do something, I guess, silly but memorable. We have to kind of adjust the placement a little bit because of the pandemic and what's happened with the grass. So please note the seniors are close to the Davis building. So the arrows now are showing you to stay by staying close to the building there. The juniors over to the left, as you're looking at the image, by the Carter building. The sophomores really sort of beyond the Ball building toward Massey, but out there on the southwest corner. The ninth graders on the right-hand side, the lower right-hand side, by the end of the Davis building there, and the 7th and 8th graders at the very end of the west side of the campus. We have 4 runners who are participating today. Nasir for the seniors, Takis for the juniors, Tommy for the 10th graders, and Hutton for the 9th. Let's give all 4 of them a round of applause. So in just a couple of moments, we'll go outside but look at the instructions about the race itself. It will begin just as you saw in the film. So they'll do the Westminster chimes, those 4 beats of 4 sounds, and then it'll strike 1 chime for the hour, but it's the 1 chime to start the race. We will go out to the quad, and I'll get your attention out there to be quiet so the runners can be. Let's go.